Party people now taste that. This is the 808 bass test. Everybody be a freak in the room. Now pump up the bass with the 808 boom. Back once again, party people now taste that. This is the 808 bass test. Everybody be a freak in the room. Now pump up the bass with the 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808. This is the 808 bass test.
What up, squadron? The rave has arrived. We're back for more action. I've got my man from the north with me, Mr. Pabs. We've only just finished, Pabs. We're back again.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. I had a night off last night. Didn't know what to do with myself. Ended up eating biscuits and doing weights and just felt like a strange individual without a thing to do in the world. So I'm glad to be back.
Oh, mate. So, I mean, bit of a breather over the weekend, but we're back once again, guys. So, Division 2, no playoffs as of yet. We've got to go through the groups once more. So, I believe there's 3 weeks of group games, and then the playoffs span over 2 weeks. So, 5-week seasons. and we are back again with Galaxy Dark up against Sensei. We're just waiting on invites to come through, but while we wait, I'll just quickly shout out the guys in the chat. Miss Mulaney, how are we, Mel? Good to see you in the chat once more, the queen of mods. And thank you very much for the subs as well, Mr. Jakob and Dreg dropping those subs. Thank you very much, guys. But yeah, Pablo, we've got another series of ACCL, but I want to actually get us started on the right at the top of the peak. Obviously, stepping away from this one because we've got some tasty teams in this season coming through once more.
Yeah, I mean, just in this game alone, it's nice to see a couple of returning faces. I mean, Alex the Sick Joke, last time I cast him was probably an Express S&D, and he used to hate Express S&D, let's be perfectly honest, so it's nice to see him back in a new game, and obviously it's good to see Cogsy back as well, so another player we've cast an absolute ton over, so it should be interesting. There's a couple of players there that don't recognise straight out the rip, so it'd be nice to see some fresh faces. Obviously, I think we've cast over Elmore a great deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously information a little thin on the ground about the league itself and what teams are in it. So yeah, I'm literally spent 5 minutes just before we started trying to find a little bit of detail, but I think it's too early in the day. But obviously, man, if you've got players like Alex the Sitcho and Cogsy, it's going to be a very, very tasty endeavour. Division 2 already.
Yeah, so obviously we know what the boys of Elmore are like. Oh, there you go. Speak of the devil, Mr. Cogsy just sent us through an invite. For any of you guys who don't know, this is what our map set is going to look like. And Pabs, we've got a Demiansk map too. What's going on?
Oh man, I mean, I suppose with the imminent change in map sets, potentially they're just like, maybe we should just get one rotation of Demiansk in, but you have got to ask the question why. It's a horrible map, and maybe, I don't know, the thought process, they've scrimmed a little bit more, maybe practiced it and got a little bit of information that no other team's got, but I don't know, it's going to be a weird one. It definitely lends itself to that kind of like back church team, so I don't know, it's a weird one. Defending team have got a really good opportunity there to get one up, I suppose, straight away, but yeah, not a map we see very often, man. I'm kind of glad to see it in a way. It just, you know, throws the cat among the pigeons.
Make it mixy, and obviously we've got the Bocage as well, so it's like we've got arguably the stiffest map on the game in Demiansk. Nobody wants to cross over ice, and then we've got Bocage where everyone is just like go. So hopefully we'll have a bit of everything in this one. And a quick shout as well.
Does that lend itself to a game 5 then?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind a game 5 first series back in season 2. That'd be I'll have a word with the lads, see if they can sort us out something special for that one.
Could,
yeah, but
just throw a map.
A big shout out as well to IRNV Sergio for the follows, and is a variety. Thank you very much. And Mr. Prezi with the tier 1 sub. There you go, the man who makes it all happen, Mr. Prez. Thank you very much, brother. But yeah, Prez, while you're here, actually, we'll ask you: have you got the rest of the teams for Div 2? Just off the top of your head, I don't know if you've got them all in front of you.
Teams and rosters.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing goes like with the Super League now. I mean, we saw kind of how, obviously, with the drama and the beef that ended last year, we had it kind of unfold in a big explosion at the end. But we've got kind of what I would assume would be a few returning teams. Obviously, the Ricochet lads with Looty and that, they're in this season, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether Gabe and Johnny will still be playing on the Vitalized Black roster because they obviously filled in for Brindy and Cobra. But hopefully they come back. It would be nice to see them back on the sticks, at least every so often, just to bless us with some top quality players. But yeah, the other teams as well. Obviously, we've got now this mix, haven't we, of kind of the ACCL teams that we're used to, kind of likes of Kez, Higgy, JT, all those players. JMW's new team as well. Coming up against the likes of Looty more frequently, so it's going to be good to see how they fare up on a consistent level rather than kind of like a one-off set of games in those 2Ks that we tend to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously we know, I think Snake confirmed as well, so we've got Luke in there as well, who isn't, you know, is definitely one of the better players in that scene. So yeah, there's going to be quite a lot of opportunity for those players who are kind of higher up in the ACCL to get a chance to start playing more regularly. And if they're not already scrimming, I guess it's difficult. It's difficult for even the likes of Kez and the likes of F-Dot and that to get those kind of scrims, so this is a superb opportunity for those guys.
Yeah.
Obviously spaces are limited though, so get that kind of stuff in as soon as possible. Get the DMs over to Prezi ASAP to get your place, because it is a limited array of spaces, and that £800 is as it stands, so there's potential for it to even go higher. So yeah, just get that the DMs in and let's get this league on the roll, because at the minute the ACCL is looking like the most consistent place for Call of Duty in the UK, which is pretty exciting if you're part of the team, or even part of a team going into play. And you're starting to see this pipeline. We've talked about this before between this Div 7. We were there when the ACCL started, and we were able to see these players come through, and obviously it took time to get itself sorted, but we're seeing there is a pipeline there. There are players. I mean, there are players in Division 7 that probably should be in slightly higher divisions. I did see Africano in there the other day, and I was like, that can't be right. But yeah, I mean, that there is a pipeline now, clear pipeline to kind of to expose, at the very least right now, exposure.
Yeah, and I suppose like the beautiful thing for us as well is kind of the narratives and stuff that we get to see kind of on the outside, looking at players that work their way up. Obviously, like last year, the likes of JMW were kind of like at the top, and then now we see them breaking into kind of like that top 32, top 16. I mean, there's a lot of teams actually now that are starting to break through, with a lot of teams that are starting to pack it in. Obviously, a lot of the ACCL guys are starting to fill the gaps. I think Prezi sent the stat, didn't they? I think it was like 40% of the teams in top 64 were ACCL teams. So it's almost like a development now that we get to see over the coming months, which is obviously really, really good. And obviously with the divisions being alongside them, you can kind of keep track of the level kind of that they're going at.
My favourite thing is seeing some of the older players just crying about the fact they don't know the names of some of the younger players. When you just come up with these ACCL guys and you're seeing tweets going, oh, the COD scene's falling apart. The top 32, I don't recognise half the players. And I'm like, well, that's because you literally only had eyes on the very top 8 teams that consistently get through, and that if you're going to limit your world to that, then you aren't going to recognise the next generation of hungry young COD players that want to make it. So the COD scene isn't falling apart, mate. There's 128 teams trying to apply for the ACCL this season, or something ludicrous. And those teams as well applied to MCA, and those teams are part of the ES Club. They'll apply to other tournaments and other leagues like the Stim League. So scene's quite healthy. It's just that you're not paying enough attention to these players that are slightly lower, and that's how it is. We saw quite a lot of crying over the weekend about, what is this? Why are we getting bodied by these ACCL players? Well, that's because you haven't got a clue about the quality of the ACCL players that we have got. And
obviously with the amount of games that now these guys are playing, Siege has just redeemed one. Siege! Thank you very much, Mr. Siege. Have a couple of those. Cheers for tuning in, guys. With the amount of games
now, I like
now,
to think that Ronaldo's just shouting Siege.
More Siege. Because obviously at the moment, when you've got the 2Ks, a lot of the top teams are playing and scrimming each other kind of in. It's more like a closed circle, isn't it? I'd say for like the top 16 teams. But it's good. This is the good thing with the MCA, the likes of ACCL, all these other leagues that are going on, even Stimuli to an extent as well, because they're at least getting reps that aren't just GBs. They're obviously playing teams of similar levels, and everyone's only going to get better as a result. So it's kind of a really good opportunity to get reps under their belt and also play for prize money as well. There's obviously a lot of money now in the ACCL, which has been built up, and it's a lot of competition, a lot of stacked competition, so they're only naturally going to push their way into top 64, top 32, and Prezi just mentioned it was 40% of top 32 was ACCL, so that's a mental stat when you think about it, considering how long it's been going.
And you think as well, obviously, if you've got some teams scrim 6 and 8, some teams scrim 4, 6 and 8, that becomes very repetitive. There's not a lot of pressure, so you tend to just try and play your game and your stats. Not a huge amount of pressure. You just go into the game and then just rotate through the hard points as quickly as possible. Well, these teams that are getting this kind of reps in a league situation are applying like a synthetic pressure to themselves. So they're forcing themselves to play different strategies, to play a little bit better, and it's starting to show. You're starting to see, the teams that are getting that kind of practice, getting deeper and deeper into these 2Ks, and now we're starting to see, recognised, I don't know how you describe them, kind of recognised AM talent is dropping off. We're starting to see some of the players that we knew would be finishing T8 last season start to hit T16 and T32, and in some cases T64. Yeah,
and as well, like we saw kind of how certain players, I mean, last year it was a big accomplishment to get top 32, and now it's kind of like, right, well, some players like Ibra's team, they broke through into top 16. They almost got through to Sunday. So it's now kind of the next kind of interesting thing I think that I'll be keeping an eye on is who is that top team, who's the the potential team that is going to be the first one to break into that top 8 to get through to Sunday. Because that will be a really big milestone, especially if they get into that Sunday, and then all of a sudden the casters are like, "Who are these boys?" And we'll be like, "We know who these are."
Well, I think it's going to be a lot to ask for the team to do it. You see, as the season goes on, those top 8 teams are going to get settled. So we said it last week that was the opportunity to really do well was this Sunday.
Yeah.
Because obviously going into quals, there will be a different level of discipline from the very top teams. You will see a different level of discipline as they look to try and cement the points and cement the places for the elites. But as the season wears on, those teams will settle and just get better as well. So that this Sunday was probably the last or potentially last time where we would see teams from our level have a really good opportunity or an easier opportunity to break through. But then you talk about someone like Ibra, who literally broke through into COD like late last year. You know,
Ibra's played the game, I think, for like
as a fresh talent.
Yeah, Ibra's played like 4 months of COD, 5 months of COD.
And he's done so
like mechanically, he's always been very good, but now he's picking up the game knowledge, obviously, off of a lot of the other players in the team that he's got there. The likes of Infinity are obviously helping him out, and he's going on the path to be at that level. And obviously, when you got the likes of Gabe saying Ibra's the only one on that team that I don't think's cheating, and obviously you know how good Ibra is, it's a case of, well, eventually you feel that those kind of players are going to get a shot with potentially some of these bigger names that we're used to seeing when the likes of Bids drops out, and all these other names. They've got, like you say, they've got to fill the slot, so their next eyes are going to be down, unless they happen to know somebody else who can obviously make a like replacement. But at the moment, when you look into the funnel, it's a big chunk is ACCL players.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and just another good point, I suppose, is that obviously a lot of these teams that we see doing well probably won't stay as form, and they will get picked up individually. So, yeah, there is that as well. I'll have to answer the door.
That's right, mate. I'll hold down the fort while you go and answer it. So, guys, Galaxy Dark up against Sensei Siuu, and I won't be calling them that the entire game. I have resorted to having to accept the fact I'm just going to call them Sensei, because otherwise I will lose my voice for the entire series. But it'll be interesting to see how Galaxy Dark opt to come up against these boys in Sensei, because we know what these lot are all about. Cogsy, Elmore, obviously 2 returning names that we're used to seeing on the sticks. Nice shots from Lidesy right off the rip. And Mr. Pabs, are you back? Because I've got a question for you now, because now we're actually going to see the return of obviously the STG, because obviously it got GA, didn't it, with Vital, but now that's been completely cut out. We've got an opportunity now to see that gun back in action. So I suppose a lot of the AR players might be quite loving of that, because especially at the start of the game, it was the more preferred weapon.
I see. I'm not too sure. I'm an SMG player, I suppose, if you could call me that. But I've kind of got used to that automation. It's a very straight shooter. It feels very comfortable when you're using it. It doesn't move about a lot. And I found the STG to be, you know, if you get it steady and you can control it, it tends to be underpowered. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I think we might see a split for the next week between the STG and between the automation. Yeah. But I mean, the more powerful weapon eventually will just come to the fore, mate.
Yeah. No. Right off the rip, the boys of Galaxy Dark kind of struggling at the moment. Alex still waiting for his first kill on the hard point, and Sensei, they're in position at the moment to try and work a break in. Nice shots though from Celsius. Really quick couple of kills come through. Havy is going to manage to grab the trade. I think I'll go with Havy or Havy. It'll probably be whichever one I pick. I'll get it wrong and it'll be the other one. But nice work from him right off the start there, just to try and help his team at least try and work something on this hill. Lidesy is just locked up outside the back. Nice shots there to take down yet another player. So an opportunity now for him to just hop on the hill. But you can already see Pabs, those players getting ready for the next one.
Yeah, I think it was really nice to see a little bit of patience. And one of the things we've seen, the split between the kind of low AM and high AM, is the patience you have. You're not desperate to jump onto the hill. You get control. You make sure you potentially get a team wipe, or as close to a team wipe as possible, and then look to get onto the hill. And we're just seeing that now. It's really nice bit of play actually for Galaxy Dark to do that. Question remains whether they're going to be able to hold it. Number 3 there, Havy, I'm going to say, maybe Havy, who knows. But 7 and 5 right now. He has got that power position. He's just going to back up, I think, just as he heals up, and then just look to get that information. This is going to be a nice push through the middle, but it's going to have to be timed really well. But hats off to Sensei Siuu with a nice start, 55 or 15-second lead. So right now, it does look like they're being repelled, Major, quite substantially. So a big moment for Galaxy Dark as they bring this almost level.
Yeah, this is a really big regain, actually. And the combined streak, what is that, 10, I think, if my maths is correct? And there's a glide bomb coming through already. from Stoker, so they're obviously looking at the importance of trying to get those players off the scrap time as Havy looks to try and rotate in. He's now on a 5 streak as well, so they've got to be careful here. Sensei not to allow Galaxy Dark too much back into this because they have now taken the lead and they're starting to push it out with the scrap time, but now big kills coming through. Can Havy manage to grab any more? No, Stoker locks it out the back and he has no more of that, so it's now going to be a case of where are Galaxy Dark going to push through. Envy getting some shots in, but again, another couple of kills just stabilizing for the time being. Sensei see, and now it's, I suppose, it's the case, Pablo, of who can break in first, because it looks as though at the moment it's back and forth at the moment because Sensei look as though they're in a good position to hold a lot of time on this one as well.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of anchoring, I don't know what one, maybe both, from Celsius as he managed to just hold the back spawns and get a few simple kills, and that's just allowed his team to spawn into back church and then get quite a bit of time. But really nice break from Galaxy Dark, just bullying their way through, and it's going to take a big retake from Sensei Siuu as they're going to need to kind of get back into this church position, and already you can see number 1 there, and Envy looking to potentially go round to one of our favourite kills in the game. I suggest he's going to try and lock that up, and there's going to be a big gunfight going down between Stoker and Envy in a few seconds' time, Major.
Yeah, so Celsius just looking to be the last man standing on the hill. Oh, probably shouldn't have overshadowed that because he could have got a few more seconds of scrap time, but there's nothing separating these guys at the moment as we go over towards the infamous nade spam of death as Elmore just cuts through 3 players right off the rip, and instantly Sensei now have that important set of opening kills, but now can the players at the back try and work something? Nope. Number 7 in Stoker is having absolutely none of it. He's in a really good position just to stop those players from working around the back. Envy, though, flies straight round the corner and shuts him down himself. So it's a bit of a messy haul, Pablo. It looks as though neither side has really got a foothold on this one, understandably, like we're used to seeing.
Yeah, a little bit of weird time, and I think they jumped off the hill just not to give any information away. Tried to get control, didn't get control of lower or back, and then obviously that back tile there, it just became a dominant position for Sensei Siuu. But again, this has become a bit of a contest hill. Normally we'd see this over to P2, but P3 becoming this kind of place where it looks like the game's going to be made or broken. 106 to 96, still fairly tight though, but again, this is going to come down to how many you're going to commit to next. With 4 seconds remaining, we're seeing a good commitment from Sensei Siuu, but who's there already? It's going to be Havy. It's going to be Alex the Sick-Joe. He does get dropped, but a nice bit of rotation from Galaxy Dark, and just doing really well to contest that P3.
Yeah, when you look
P5
when you look at the amount of kills that the Galaxy Dark have got, it's only really Havy that's having an absolute blinder. The rest of the guys are actually really struggling on the side of Galaxy. So they've actually shown how important some of these rotations are, regardless of how many kills you're getting, and they're pushing the lead out a little bit on apologies, no Sensei. They're now back on the hill, so Elmore going to look to try and just work something at the front of the hill, and he shuts down Lizy as well with some nice shots. So already that early push potentially is going to come through. Number 2 Alex should get traded out, and he does, but now number 4 Lizy, can he potentially make the trade as well onto the man out the back, which is going to be Elmore as he gets another one. So 5 in a row now for Elmore, looking for the 6th, and really good work from Elmore as he starts to come to life. Started off struggling a little bit. He was 10 and 16 at one point. He's now 8 and 16. Apologies, my maths is an absolute mare. But yeah, 6 in a row from him, and Sensei now in a good position to push this lead out, Pablo.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the kills earlier on. I think one of the things to note is that, the team that does end up having to break the hill, and if they are successful, will come away with less kills. Obviously, they'll get a team wipe or close to it, get their time on the hill, and then they only have to repel the occasional the first breach or second breach, and that's what Galaxy Dark have done. They're just doing really effective in getting into the hill and getting the time. But it's obviously Sensei Siuu a lot of transitional kills and having to re-break a number of times. So right now it's maintained a reasonable level of closeness just purely because of that. And I think Sensei Siuu, if they are able to get hold of a hill at any time, could potentially just start to run away with it. But Galaxy Dark right now, that particular strategy working really well for them. And it looks like one thing to note as well is Alex the Sick Joke has come to life a solid 50 seconds, and he's 15 and 16, despite that really appalling start that he had.
Yeah, so now maybe he's going to be a busy lad over this side of the map because there's going to be a few players, and number 8 in Celsius comes straight from underneath him, manages to win the initial gunfight. Envy does get the information that those players are pushing through tiles, so you'd assume that Alex is going to be ready and waiting for at least 1, potentially 2 gunfights. You can see now the push is starting to form here as Cogsy manages to grab a couple of kills. The player's looking to work out, and it's now just going to be Havy all on his lonesome. And Pablo, that is pretty much how you want to break that hill. Textbook stuff from the boys of Sensei.
Yeah, now it comes down to the fact that they've got one player who's slightly out of the equation that's going to require a bit of work. Nice work though from Cogsy over towards Fire as he does drop heavy. Yeah, I'm struggling myself here, mate. But yeah, nice bit of work from both teams really, just to try and maintain that hill. And it's going to be another push from Galaxy Dark towards the side. And again, just good work from Sensei Siuu to keep this game really competitive. And again, the kill feed, almost always appears to be that kind of green. But regardless of that, Galaxy Dark still doing a great job. And look, they've already started the rotation over towards Churchill. And this is going to be another big one as we approach kind of our last kind of 60, 70, 80 seconds of the game.
Yeah, so if Sensei can be a lot more efficient here in rotations, they could potentially really start to formulate a big score here as Cogsy is going to finally drop on 9 in a row, though. But what a run that was from him. And again, more kills coming through. Galaxy Dark going to have Alex the last man standing. But again, the break comes through. Elmore with another important kill on the hill. And now they're going to look to really start to push this lead out. Every single time it feels that one team gets a foothold in the hill, the other team just seems to break back through. It looks as though Envy's going to try and do that himself, because last man up is going to be Cogsy. And how many can he manage to grab here? Takes down one, looking to break some ankles, but can't grab any more. And it's another position, Pabs, where it looks as though Sensei are going to get a huge chunk of time. But Galaxy Dark, to be fair to them, they don't give up. They break back through, and it looks as though they're going to get some more time on this hill, potentially.
Yeah, this is going back and forth as we see, successful break after successful break, which you expect to see. And again, the kill feed now swings back purple. Elmore had 2 absolutely monumental kills transitioning from the old to new, and they've done really well to get whatever time they could off that kill. In fact, they've done well to kind of maintain the lead there. And again, this just becomes this war of attrition between the sides as they both successfully break each other, and the spawns, is still relatively close. So, and this is what's essentially led us to this point where we've got this super time. Envy with a really nice jump shot there as he drops Celsius, and it's going to allow Galaxy Dark just to get a little bit of time. This might be the first time especially if they can get a kill here. But huge kills from Cogsy, another fine MP40 player that you want to pay attention to this season, especially.
Yeah, and Havy looks as though he's having a battle up against him in terms of most kills in this one. Cogsy just edging it out at the moment at 34. Huge number of engagements for him at the moment, standing at 58 as he looks to try and work some more kills. But Elmore, he's going to be the last man inside the hill. So Sensei, they're going to break back through once again. It looks as though Galaxy Dark are just going to opt to bun off the scrap time, go for the rotation. So now can Sensei get the initial man on the hill? Nice work though from Havy. Again, good positional kill. Looks to try and work out another onto Stoker in the back, and he manages to do it again. Havy's just kind of running this free roam roll at the moment for Galaxy, as we will see another streak being invested by Cogsy. So Alex is going to have that one land in his back pocket. Nothing he can really do about this one, but the boys of Galaxy Dark, Pablo, they're on the more preferred side, I suppose you would say, and Havy is running a bit of riot at the moment.
Yeah, and they're really nicely set up on this P1, and it's going to be... honestly, they could do it here if they can get another team wipe and get the kills across on Sensei Siuu. This could be a huge moment, and Havy definitely at the forefront in terms of his ability to drop those players. It was a big 3 kills, and now it comes down to Envy in this fight, and that's a big play from Cogsy. He's going to come around the back, and this is an opportunity for them to pinch. But, mate, this has been a superb hold from Galaxy Dark so far. Yeah,
they've only got a few more seconds now before they top off this map 1 here, Galaxy Dark. They're waiting for somebody to potentially touch the hill. I don't even think anyone's even going to touch it. So Galaxy Dark, they are going to come out with a really good performance in map number 1. They take it 250 to 217, and potentially, on the face of it, Pabs, not necessarily the team you would have expected, because I know there's a couple of names that we're not really 100% sure with, but they did a really good job in that one.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look back to the middle of the series. Their slaying wasn't quite there, but then you go to the end of the series, everyone seems to have picked up a few kills. Alex Siuu, who had a terrible start, has come almost balanced KD, and you've got Havy dropping absolute bombs on Sensei Siuu there just to get those points across. And we talked earlier on about the fact they kept consistently breaking the hill, and obviously if they're able to do that, they don't get a lot of transitional kills, so the slaying doesn't look great, but they're turning those kills into at solid time. So great performance from them, and at the end, just really surprised that the boys from Sensei Siuu didn't try and get a foot. They had 6-7 seconds remaining to get a foot and at least start to do the desperation, get the kill feed in. But I think they just resigned to defeat there, and probably frustrated more than anything else, because they did kill quite heavily in that map.
Yeah, because it was when it was still relatively close at about 100 points each. I was sat there thinking, if Galaxy Dark pull their finger out for kills, Sensei got to be careful here, because they were getting quite a lot of big kills, Sensei. They just couldn't seem to get the time to reflect it. And then as soon as we saw it, Galaxy Dark, when they started getting the kills and Havy was really starting to fry, that's when we saw that score really start to shift.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this time and time again. I'm a big advocate of like maximizing your time, like kill to time ratio, and now it's a stat. You know, in terms of like, it's one of the stats towards the back end. If you look when the stat screen comes up, there is a kill time, like stroke kill average that you can get, and obviously the more that you're able to do that, the better your team's going to be. So you don't have to you don't have to kind of pad your stats out with a ton of transitional kills. We saw it at the weekend in challenges. I think there was a player who dropped 56 kills in a hard point and lost the map.
Yeah, that was.
We've seen it before.
That was the French Cobra, wasn't it? I think he's French.
Yeah.
That player Cobra, so a different Cobra to the one we're used to. But yeah, doesn't matter if you can get a lot of kills, but if they're in places where necessarily your team doesn't really need them, as good as it looks, if they're not on important rotations.
Most famously, mate, TJ Haley on London Docks dropping 60, and his team lost that hard point.
Yeah, I mean,
so, you know,
it helps to an extent. Like, obviously, eventually, if you're getting loads and loads of kills, one will be an important one. But fair play to Galaxy Dart. They kind of proved there that the rotations and positional kills are more important than the numerical
100%.
ones.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's always been a game of the important kill. Like you can drop 40 and they can just be like and map size helps as well. Obviously, I would say these kind of middle-sized to large-sized maps, you know, the transitional kills can have an impact on something like Berlin. Sometimes they can impact the wrong way. You just help an opposition player spawn closer to the kill because you kill them so early in transition, and sometimes it's really vital. But on the very the opposite end of the scale, on the very small maps, they are all going to count for something. If you drop 60 in Bocage hardpoint, your team's going to win. But obviously, when you get to these middle to large size maps, it's a complete turnaround. You can drop huge numbers and your team can still lose. And ultimately, it's about winning. So it's when you go and watch teams like Young Cretins and you see Real go 13 and 13, but he's got 1 minute 50 on the hill, and you know all them 13 kills were super important. He was repelling a breach, or he was, you know, defending an old hill or breaking into a new kill. So yeah, there is definitely like a way to play more efficiently, and obviously that's one of the big steps you've got to make as a player, going from being kind of a headless chicken AM player to just making that progress higher and higher. Make sure you get those effective kills. Yeah, and big shout to Automatics with the follow. And I think he popped a question in to say, what was the ACCL? Well, basically, how long you got? So it's just pretty much an amateur Call of Duty league. Pretty much what it says on the tin, really. It's amateur COD competitive league? I think it stands for something like that. Anyway, but yeah, if you do want to get involved, guys, feel free to check over ACCL. At the ACCL official, I think, is the Twitter handle. You can obviously get involved. Obviously, Prezzy's going to be in the chat as well. But yeah, if you do want to get involved, guys, if you're new to the scene, then feel free to do so, because there's a lot of money being played for, and there's very limited spaces as well, I believe, now. So it's a case of get in while you can, really. Oh, 100%, yeah, definitely. Just, I mean, it's going to be the highest quality level of Call of Duty play that you could ask for. I mean, it's already got Lucy's team in there, it's already got Snake's team in there. I can only imagine a few of the top end players are going to want to be involved, and we'll be pushing, obviously, every step of the way to get these guys involved. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the money is going to be of interest to them as well, because it's like, you know, for some of these players, it's going to be a good opportunity to get some dough, which is what essentially what they want to do. They want to make a living playing this game. So big opportunity, and do get yourselves signed up. Or, you know, if you're not one of those players or those teams, you know, put the pressure on those players and teams to get signed up, because we want to cast over them. Yeah,
I'd say the more we get, the better, really, for us as neutrals. But yeah, the way I always phrase it is like, if you go and you play a 5-a-side league or a 7-a-side league, obviously you pay for entry into those to have fun in that. I mean, at the end of the day, with the experience that you get playing in like consistent league games, pretty much covers the price of the cost. And then if you do happen to be very good at it, then obviously you take away some change as well to go with it. So it's obviously win-win in that sense. And Seawolf saying, Major, do you know if Ace has played? I don't believe so, Wolf. That's not a name that I recognise personally, but there's so many players in ACCL, it's hard to keep track. But map 2, Pabs, obviously ready to go any second. Fingers crossed. It's everyone's favourite, Demiansk. So we're going from a bit of a messy one to First Blood Central, I like to call it, in Demiansk. Obviously, we see a lot of snipers, a lot of stiff AR players do quite well on this one.
Yeah, we also see this is my favourite map for the headless chicken. You know, the super aggressive player that cannot help but run across
Yeah.
that frozen river right into middle. Obviously, knife in hand, trying to get that power position as quickly as possible. You see, you know, one of the features to look out for, and obviously the other big feature, as you pointed out, is that power position on top church where you just got so much coverage over the map. You can give out a lot of information, but another big thing to look out for is potentially a snipe off on the left hand side of the map towards the edge of the ice lake. We see that time and time again. You know, it always ends up invariably being a 1v1 in a sniper, and usually they end up being one of those players ends up being in the clutch 1v2 1v3 moment at the end. But yeah, Demyansk, very very odd map, but it's got some storylines in there.
Yeah, so guys, if you did finish right at the end, or if you did join us to finish, God bloody hell, we're only just getting started. If you did join us just at the end of map number 1, it was the boys of Galaxy Dark who managed to take it 250 to 217 on the Tuscan hardpoint. So now getting ready for a slightly slower map in Demyansk Search. And already, Pablo, you can see actually Havy and the boys going to go for the bold play and just cross straight over mid. But you can see Cogsy is ready and waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice little bit of bullet penetration there to get the kill, but he is going to get dropped out by Envy. So nice trade, and it's always good to see that. No one pushed out far left, so and it's interesting to see. Although we do have a player, looks like Alex the Sitchoke's probably moved over there, the sniper. He is going to be kind of left out. I think he's going to be watching in towards that church, and right now it is definitely you know, advance. Well, I've lost for words on this one. It's definitely the foot's definitely on Sensei Siuu's side. No, Galaxy Dark side. I've lost it, mate. I've gone. But yeah, big opportunity for them to take a first round lead if they can just do deal with Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius, he's got some good timing. Oh, man, the reactions to get away from that one from Embry, and all the purple arrows just flood at him at once as Galaxy Dark take the opening round. So now looking to clean off where they started. But wow,
The
yeah,
lad on the bomb moved quicker than me. When my wife catches me with biscuits, honest to God.
Oh man, somebody needs to clip it and put that as the caption when Pablo hears dinner's ready. Boom.
Oh my days, the speed he moved off that bomb, that was wild. I mean, Celsius had no chance then, but wow, I mean, you've got to take, I mean, one lesson to be learned there, you've got to take your shots, Major, with some beautiful free cannon here.
Oh.
People don't appreciate how difficult it is, but what it does tell us is that we have got one Galaxy Dark player who's taken that power position, but he has missed out, and Elmo with a brilliant chance has just slid in front of him, and Nade just causes Lighty to become a sled all of a sudden, which is exciting. And a big moment right now for the boys from Sensei Siuu to maybe tie things up.
Yeah, and oh, there you go. Last man, unfortunately, not going to be able to get anything working. So Sensei, they are going to tie it back up to 1 round apiece. And yeah, you mentioned, Pablo, kind of the power positions that you have on this map. If you've got a dominant assault rifle player, and Celsius at the moment is looking to be pretty strong with some of these first bloods, it just makes this map so much easier, definitely.
Yeah, oh man, absolutely. You do need that first blood. And obviously, you know, you know that the team that is starting in the defense are going to be looking for the first pick across to that player who pushes middle. They can't get there in time, so the next best option is get that information down that far right, as we looking from their perspective, our left, I would suggest. So yeah, first blood's massively important, especially if you're trying to get control of B site. But as we've seen, a lot of the fights come down to almost a TDM style within Church itself. So it becomes kind of the battleground, and we see this transition all the time. I expect to try and take as much information as you can about this map, because I expect it to, once the DLC maps to rotate in, this will probably rotate out and potentially Bocage as well. But yeah, last man alive for Elmo. So I mean, I was already seeing this huge kind of defensive rounds from the boys switching back and forth right now, and it's going to be 2-1 to Galaxy Dark.
Yeah, and Envy grabbing that last kill. Strong start from him as well, currently at 5-1. So we'll see now whether it's going to be a case of table tennis S&D. We see it quite a lot on some of the maps, Tuscan especially being one of them. So we'll see now whether Sensei can try and work something on the attack themselves, as Envy doing a good job. 3 in a row for him, so we'll see if he can manage potentially get any streaks on this one. And we'll see where that first blood is going to lie. Looks as though he is going to go up on the top of the building, but look at all the arrows pushing through mid, and it looks as though it might be an inevitable first blood as those players try and work their way round the side. You can see Havy is just watching the outer lane, but he's actually going to catch a nade straight to the face. So although a lot of nades and tacticals have been exchanged, there isn't a first blood as of yet, Elmore still waiting for his first kill, and it looks as though it's just a case of when. And there it is, Envy, a man who's on a bit of a mission at the moment. 4 in a row now for him. Is going to manage to drop Cogsy. And now it's a position where like Sensei, they've lost the man advantage, Pabs, and it's going to be difficult now for them to try and break into church with one less man.
Yeah, absolutely. Envy having a very good game so far. And you feel if Havy can get into it, that Galaxy Dark could begin to dominate this game so far. Only, potentially 6 kills on the side of Sensei Siuu and by round 3, which is not what you want to see. And that's a great shot from Stoker, as I say that, but it is a 1v3. He hasn't got a great position, so this is another really good opportunity for Galaxy Dark to play this with a little bit of sense. They know where he is, and they've just got to play the lives, which they very nearly didn't.
Yeah, and you can see the Galaxy lads have got the lanes on lockdown. Lidesy going to call out that he's here. Surely any second there's going to be a kill come through. But Stoker, yep, he will take one down, but the trade is going to be there. So Galaxy Dark with another round, 2-round advantage now, Pabs, and they're looking pretty solid on this search. Obviously, the likes of Alex that we know how good he was in Cold War at times. It's not surprising that his roster is looking pretty solid here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing I would note is Alex was very good on a lot of S&Ds, maybe with the exception of Express, where he did struggle. But in the main, he was a very good S&D player. He's got a good head on his shoulders. And it's nice to see him back in the league. He was one of them players I thought who potentially could push on to do a little bit more and go a little bit further, but it just ultimately never worked out for him. But good to see him back in the ACCL. And Envy, though, having an absolutely blinder of a game, he's going to have the glide. So at any point when they need information, he doesn't even need to worry too much about a kill, but he's going to be able to get information on placements and where people are. So this could be a big moment for Galaxy Dark. Hogsy with a beautiful 2 pieces. He's going to get traded out. Yes, Havy is there to get only his 2nd kill of the game, and 5 interactions in 4 rounds tells you, a player who did look aggressive in the hard point, just having a much slower game and just taking up the right position. And right now it's a 2v3, so advantage major still with Galaxy Dark.
Yeah, and Envy just opting not to invest the glide bomb this round as of yet. They do have the bomb in the hands of Havy. Surely it's just a matter of when he's going to strike here. Celsius is just underneath a couple of these players. And Carl dropping a follow. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciated. So now all engagement. Stoker not going to be able to win it. So now it's all on Celsius. The man currently the best performing on the side of Sensei is now going to need a 1 versus 3. Spots Envy, there's one, but there's surely going to be a trade any second now in the form of Alex, and it is going to come through. And now Sensei, they're going to be a bit worried about this one, Pabs, because they've now got 3 rounds to track up to even. And Galaxy Dark again with another clean round.
Yeah, really nice play from them. Very patient as well. They got the pick and then they just, waited and traded as well. One thing we have noticed about this side, and again, whether this is down to the experience of Alex, is that they trade really, really effectively. And right now, stats looking great for Envy with a glide in the back pocket, but Havy now with a 3 streak and potentially, 2 off getting a 2nd glide, which is going to be a really bad thing for, well, bad. What a great descriptive way to say things. It's going to be appalling if you're a Sensei Siuu player, knowing full well that you could potentially be 2 rounds away from defeat and there potentially 2 glide bombs about to be coming raining down on your head. But nice to see Celsius with the first blood as he does drop Envy. So the main player already dropped. So this could be a big round for the boys in green.
Yeah, Havy looks as though he's going to try and disrupt something, though. He's going all the way around the back. And if he hits this flank quick enough, he might be able to make the play. His teammates, never mind. They're actually getting kills themselves. Stoker is going to reply with one. So it's now going to be Elmore all on his Todd as he falls. And Elmore still struggling. No kills to his name. Is now going to require a 1 versus 2. Otherwise, Galaxy Dark are going to be right on the brink of taking this map number 2. And a quick shout out as well to Bartlett and Seawolf for the follows. Thank you very much, guys, for hopping on board. But Elmore, if he gets him off the bomb here, he's got a chance, and he does manage to get him off the bomb. So now 1 versus 1, but Lidesy doesn't miss a bullet, mops him up, grabs the kill, and Galaxy Dark now, Pabs, 1 round away from taking this potentially 6-1.
Yeah, and if the luck's not on your side, the luck is definitely not on the side of Elmore, who chose to go down tunnel. Probably the only place where Lidesy could have seen him, and he gets the kill, and that's going to put them 5-1 up. And with that 1 glide bomb in the pocket, I would potentially say this could be game over for the boys from Sensei Siuu. I know Tensei won't be pleased, but they're just nothing they can do at the minute. The boys in purple are very disciplined. They've traded out effectively. They've got first bloods time and time again, and albeit they have had Envy go absolutely off. Lidsy's on a 6-3, and he's on a 3 streak as well. So really nice performance across the board from the boys in purple, and if they do get this round, probably a very well deserved 6-1.
Yeah, and now it's just a case of where is the first blood going to lie. Elmore just watching the left-hand side. Obviously, the B-bomb tends to be the one that a lot of teams tend to go for. as a not quite Pablo, but Paolo with the follow. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. So
It's just a sexy.
yeah, any person beginning with the name with P, and it sounds like Pablo, you're going to be good looking. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So 3 versus 4. Galaxy Dark are going to drop another man actually, as Stoker manages to get a really important kill. So Sensei, they are going to stabilize the ship just for the time being, and Cogsy is going to grab a kill now, and that's exactly what they needed to do. It's now going to be Havy, last man alive. 1 versus 4 needed. I mean, he's been good in the series so far, but this might be a big ask.
Yeah, this is usually about the time where you just fall off the map because you're potentially not going to be able to pull it off. He does get one, but that information is going to be there, and his reactions are not going to be quick enough. And Sensei Siuu are going to put another one on the board, and it's still a big ask. You know, they've still got to get 4 rounds on the bounce in order to win and not drop one. And we don't think he's invested the glide just yet, so that's still in the back pocket. So right now, I would still say that the onus is on Galaxy Dark to be able to take this, but really nice for them to get another round on the board. It doesn't look so bad now.
Yeah, so now Elmore still struggling, but at least his boys have that second round in the back pocket. So let's see what Sensei can get going here in round number 8. They are going to be on the attacking side. And Mr. Domino with the resub. Thank you very much, brother. What a man. I haven't casted him in a while, I don't think, Domino. Well, yeah.
One of the first
Correct
players
me
I think I cast as well.
Yeah, I remember him on the old DSK rosters.
Yeah.
So now,
One
Glide
of
Bomb
many.
coming through. Envy, big kill, manages to get the first blood onto Stoker, so they want to get this done now. Galaxy Dark. And, oh, man, Lidesy might be able to rack up a few here. Elmer has no idea about this. He's going to fall. Celsius has been spotted. The trade will at least be there. But now 2 versus 3. Hogsy currently on a 3 streak. Is he going to manage to grab another pick here? Because you definitely feel now at this stage, Pablo, if they don't get this next pick, it's going to be pretty much potentially the end of this map 2 for them.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to time, and then Cogsy's going to be unlucky and not be able to get a pick across that river. And Havy, very aggressive push right the way across. You think he's going to take someone by surprise.
Yep.
That's going to be pretty much a free kill in this left. Cogsy in an almost impossible position. He does get taken out, and Galaxy Dark with a reasonably predictable win. Once we hit that 4-1 stage, they just looked so in control, Major, and at no point really looked under any pressure. We didn't see any really erratic plays, and they didn't panic, and it's been a top performance from them with a particular envy going off in that game.
Yeah, I think Demiansk is just a map where you have to be structured. I think if you're not structured and like your nades aren't coordinated, it is a very, very difficult map to even to work a lane. And Galaxy Dark, to be fair to them, they didn't give Sensei like a sniff in that search and destroy. It felt like they couldn't really get anything going. Sensei, they got a pick here or there, but whenever you saw the kill feed, it was 1 to Galaxy Dark, 2 to Galaxy Dark, and then it just felt like the Sensei lads were kind of back up against the wall halfway through the round, really.
You've got to think that was probably a Galaxy Dark pick in terms of maps. And obviously the boys from Sensei just not really probably paying a lot of attention to it. And that's not no real detriment to them. It's just, you know, if it's a bad map, teams will kind of leave it alone or not put as much effort into it. And you just need one clever team to just get a few better positions or just react a little bit better or just be a little bit better prepared. And you can see it there, 6-2. You know, the first map, the hard point's so much closer. You know, Tuscan, everyone knows, everyone probably scrims quite regularly. Demyansk, though, is definitely one of these outlier maps, so it's a good choice. And Galaxy, you know, big brains on them for choosing the maps the way they have. You know, you've got to worry Sensei Siuu going into a Berlin, which is a very strategic map. It lends itself to a team who are very coherent and have got good chemistry. So Galaxy Dark looking very much like that team at the minute.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well with what we saw on the Tuscan, with how Galaxy Dark held onto the game even though they weren't getting kills, does make me worry for Sensei here, because they can get kills, but if they lose rotations from small mistakes or they're just getting kills where they don't necessarily need them, and Galaxy Dark rotate efficiently, which we saw them do on Tuscan quite a lot, just to even just hold on to the game. As soon as they started getting the kills, that's when all the hill time really started going in their favor. So especially with Berlin and how punishing we know it can be to the teams that don't get the important kills and don't rotate as efficiently, I do worry for Sensei here. I mean, we've seen more crazy things. We know we've seen a lot of reverse sweeps already on Vanguard, and we've seen it on maps where we thought, oh, didn't really expect that one. But looking at Galaxy Dark at the moment, you would expect them to potentially see this out in a 3-0 maybe.
I just think we know that Berlin comes down to battle of the ARs, the best ARs, the ones who can provide their SMGs with good support when the hills are inside, and the ones who can lock down lanes and lock down hills when the hills are outside is going to probably come on top. And you've got to look obviously to like Alex the Sick Joke, who's notoriously very good in that role. But again, I would suggest this could be a moment for Sensei Siuu to turn things around. They've got some great players in the lineup, and it's a good opportunity, you know, if they play this well. But I suppose it just comes down to their experience together and how well they played Berlin before. Now, obviously, we're very early in the league, and you know, it's the second season. But again, I would suspect that these players may not have come up against each other before. So yeah, it could be interesting to see how it goes. But I think you're probably right. I think Galaxy Dark right now in the ascendancy, their tails are going to be up in the air, and Berlin does lend itself to a team with confidence who are playing well together.
Yeah, and JS, gold with the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. So we are now loading in to Berlin, and just quickly before we obviously get cracking into the game, but again, this is the thing that we always talk about, isn't it, Pablo, with the leagues? Obviously now with the kind of like the promotion and relegation system that we've got in this one, we're just going to have more and more matchups that we're not used to seeing. So it's going to be one of those where we'll go in with not the knowledge of the players in terms of like what we've seen of them before, but in terms of matchup, there's going to be plenty of new ones for us as neutrals, which you can never really go wrong with.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it so exciting to be able to see, you know, these players. They're going to be in Div 7, maybe coming up to Div 6, and then, you know, the same as you go through the divisions. So we are going to see some really crazy matchups, but that can only be healthy and a good thing as players, you know, start to get used to the whole community getting a chance to kind of to play each other. Unless, of course, you're one of the 4 teams stuck in the middle perennially, but again, it's still going to, you know, you've got that opportunity now to progress, and we're going to see some real progression. And one thing you are going to see as well is, you know, teams that are working hard to learn the game properly, the fundamentals, asking the right questions, are, you know, potentially going to be rewarded with getting further and further into the top echelons of the ACCL.
Yeah, so Galaxy Dark already. Strong start from those boys, understandably, and Lidesy looking to grab a couple of kills, and he does exactly that. And those are the moments that we speak about. The boys of Galaxy Dark, they get the kills when it matters. Lidesy, 2 important kills out the back, and it will just be Cogsy. Last man up. He did have a really good map 1, if I remember correctly, did Cogsy. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep it going, because they're going to need all of his slaying prowess as MB tries to work his way in. But Cogsy still alive inside the hill. Another kill as well coming through for him. So again, Cogsy just holding down the front of Fort for the time being. But again, Pablo, it's a case of Galaxy Dark more efficient. They finally at least get Cogsy out of the hill, and now they're in a good position once again to potentially get some more time here.
Yeah, and you just got to see Havy going off again, just carrying that form on from the previous hard point and potentially the end of the last S&D. He's 7-2. Glide Bomb is already in the back pocket, so he's got that for the next open hill, which will, you know, potentially you're looking at that warehouse tracks hill, and it's going to be a big moment for him to be able to push that team out and take that lead even further. And right now they are in a solid position, really good play. You've got to be looking at Elmore to start to get more involved with the game, though. Not one kill, he, as I say, that he manages to drop someone, but no time. Just as importantly, he needs to get a foot on that hill. And Alex the Sick Joke trying to get a TK there, a little bit too eager to boost his stats, but again, another player we know is decent with the AR. This is potentially why the boys in purple are doing so well. Celsius looking to get some shots, not able to drop that player there behind the pillar. He does finally do it, although, yeah, Lady Judge from behind. So good moment for the boys in green to be able to pinch this and take it, but it's a solid setup, Major, from Galaxy Dark.
Yeah, and that's much better from Elmore. Comes to life a little bit towards the end of that hill, and you can see the Sensei lads as a whole now on a 7 streak, so a good opportunity for them to claw back some time, because Galaxy, they have pushed the lead out quite substantially in the early stages, and this is big time for them here. You can still see, though, the purple arrows, they're still fighting over towards that old hill. Havy again, another couple of kills coming through. Envy is going to win a couple of kills on the rotation, and once more, Galaxy Dark, they're the team out the back. They're the team ready, so it's going to be down to Sensei to break their way through, but 3 are going to fall almost instantly. Alex is now going to be the last man standing in the back. Will manage to get a kill onto Celsius, and his teammates are going to spawn relatively close, but Elmore, the man who has struggled so far, looking for one, can't quite grab the second, though. Alex is still holding strong in the back, and it looks as though, at least for the time being, Galaxy Dark will have those players out the back ready to go any second to get some much-needed hill time and push this lead out even more.
Yeah, nice little mantle from Stoker as he drops Envy towards the back, and that's been a nice push from Sensei. Siuu brought this back to almost within 40, I think we're about 42 seconds behind. So huge kill, and Stoker goes off as he just walks around the back of the hill and just starts bodying players. So that's a glide in the back of Sensei Siuu. And again, we're just starting to see, you know, we saw this in the first hard point. There wasn't that much to choose between them in terms of time. Obviously, they had very different playing styles. But right now, it does look like the Sensei Siuu boys have finally woken up. Elmore still on that 4-10 though. I do feel if he can get involved in the game a little bit more, it's going to go a little bit better for the Sensei Siuu boys. But Galaxy Dark still looking very strong. Heavy 12 and 9 though, having an absolutely blinding game so far. And we see a little bit of tasty body shots from Celsius go into Leeds. He's definitely tilted at this point. So another good thing we're going to see as the ACCL starts to develop, as these storylines start to develop as well, and we're going to see some grudge matches coming through the season. So another potential talking point, Major.
Yeah, so hopefully now Celsius can match the passion with some potentially important kills here, because Sensei, again, they're kind of a little bit all over the place in terms of structure for the time being, but Stoker is now on 4 in a row, so we'll hop on board with him, and they will manage to get some kills. So now an opportunity to get on the hill, which isn't necessarily the easiest of any of them, to get a lot of time. That middle hill on P5 can be so messy, so prone to grenades, and a couple of windies there from Envy, but we'll manage to get the job done. He's still got a man in Celsius lurking around him, who is just, again, spray and pray on that occasion. Isn't going to grab another kill on that one. Galaxy Dark, they will get the remaining scrap time, but now Sensei, this is where it really needs to happen for them here, Pablo, because they really need a good chunk of time on the hill. It's kind of been a little bit hit and miss, and Alex, it looks as though he's ready to upset the party.
Yeah, absolutely. Some nice AR skills. He is dropped by Cogsy though, and it does look like Cogsy's just starting to heat up a bit more and more each kind of hill that we go through. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a solid hold right now. They just need to repel one more time, and they're going to have taken a large proportion of this time. A game that was 70 seconds apart earlier on is now only within 5 seconds now. So great play from the boys in green, and they just seem to have got more and more into this round. As their rhythm just got better, their shots a little bit tighter, and Stoker in particular about to potentially hit his second 5 spree. So yeah, right now it's looking really good for another tense and tight affair. The question really remains, do they have that opportunity? Do they have the consistency and the discipline within them to see this out to the end of the game? I would suggest yes, because they started off on the back foot and they've only got better. But again, you've just got to look to maybe the likes of Galaxy Dark and the players within there. If they start slaying out again, which they didn't do at the start of the first map, but we know as well within them this could become a problem. That's going to be a glide that gets no results for Stoker, but obviously he's only 2 off, 1 off getting his next glide, and obviously I think that was potentially in mind.
Yeah, and Cogsy straight through the door is only going to be able to grab 1 as Stoker tries to finesse his way across, and now Alex actually managed to grab 5 in a row. I'm not quite sure if he did actually on that occasion, or whether it was the yeah, I think that might have been the glitch that we tend to see sometimes in Codcaster, but again, we've only seen 1 glide bomb come through. I believe it was Stoker who opted to invest that glide bomb, and he didn't manage to grab the kill. So Galaxy Dark now, again, with a good opportunity to hold a bit of time here. MV looking down to locks and lanes, and he gets another couple of kills as he goes on another 5 streak. And this is where they need to be careful here, Sensei. They can't afford to gift away the rotation and streaks as well, because that will really be a kick in the balls if that is going to happen. But now Stoker out the back, the man who's been a bit of a talisman so far for them in this map with a big important couple of kills. Number 5, Envy, looks as though he's going to try and work his way down that right-hand side of the map and secure the spawns. But Sensei looking a lot better here, Pablo, in the middle stages.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, I'm sorry, I was away with the fairies, but there, it's Envy just in that hill. He was able to repel 3 players, and this is what we talk about when we say these important kills. So he gets 3 kills, he's nearly on a streak, none of them transitional kills. He repels almost an entire breach by the opposition, and he gets 25 seconds for the benefit, whereas Sensei Siuu get a couple of players in transition and don't really get a lot of time. So big place by Havy there. I do expect him to go off. He's 18 and 17 right now. Stoker finally invests that second glide bomb that he was able to get, and able to get Leeds as well. But yeah, one thing I would suggest is Galaxy Dark doing well for the kills in terms of time, and again just about to hit that 20-second lead. So this is the thing you've got to be fearful for if you're Sensei Siuu. The boys in purple are making good use of their kills in terms of transitioning that into effective time.
Yeah, and Elmore just able to tank the glide bomb straight to the face. Stoker and Celsius do a really good job as well, but now can Lidesy make break round the back? There's going to be a few players ready and waiting. How many can he potentially pick off? Celsius is going to be 1. Lidesy able to grab 1 kill. There's still the number 2 in Elmore. And Elmore with a really important kill. He's been really quiet by his standards in this series, but he's got a really important kill there. But Envy, at least they're going to force the streaks out as he manages to take the man Elmore off the hill. So necessarily not the biggest of streaks, but it is quite an important one to at least grab a few more breathing seconds to allow them in. But Envy, big kill. Is he going to push his way in? He's got his man in Lidesy on the outer lane. It looks as though they will lock down, at least for the time being, the remaining seconds of the hill. The Celsius is going to slowly work his way around to try and maybe pinch a couple of seconds of scrap time, but now he's going to go surely. Lizy in the back, but Lizy holds strong. Important kill. He's still got another man in waiting, in Alex nearby to help him out if he does need it. So again, more scrap time going in favor of Galaxy Dark. And with that scrap time, Pabs, they're past the 200 point mark, or pretty much there, as they opt to get off the hill. And Sensei now, they're going to have a really good hold on this P5, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and you saw that like flank from Havy. He made his way around the back, and honestly thought he was going to try and hold from that new hillside, but he opts to go into middle, and I think they're going to look to try and take as much time off middle as possible. Whereas you do see a lot of teams, especially at the higher end, will just look to opt for the spawns over towards that left-hand side, but it just looks like they're feeling confident. But it's been a nice break so far, and number 2 does get dropped, so it's going to be Celsius who does fall, and Havy again with a big kill. And we talk about how important these kills are when you're defending the hill, and he's done really, really well. Finally looks like they're going to be bullied off, and it is going to be number 4 there, Celsius, picking up that scrap kill and giving them the opportunity to get that time that potentially could see them as close to 200 as near possible.
Yeah, and another kill comes through from Havy there. A man of many engagements is going to grab another man off the hill. So Sensei, the race over towards the next hill is going to commence. Cogsy, oh, he can't manage to grab the kill. Stoker is looking at least to try and punch his way through, but no, the kill feed is purple. Once again, Galaxy Dark, make no mistake about it, and now only 20 seconds away means that Sensei, they are going to really have to pull their finger out here. You can see Alex watching the outer lane, but Cogsy forces his way through the front. Big kills. Havy's on the flank, though. Havy's on the flank. How many can he potentially get? He's going to get Stoker for free. There's going to be another man in Celsius there for the trade. It's getting a little bit messy inside the hill. Sensei, they're surviving at least for now. They've got at least a bit of time to potentially hold here and stop Galaxy Dark from maybe winning off this hill. But Cogsy, a big kill. Can he grab the second? Cogsy with 2 important kills. And those purple arrows are now starting to flood in once again to try and contest. But Stoker has absolutely none of it. Him and Celsius are just holding strong, Pablo. And it looks as though it's not going to be a win for Galaxy Dark, at least not for now on this hill, because Sensei, they've just about managed to claw out some talent right when they needed to.
Oh, I don't know what's happened to Sensei, Siuu, but they just seem to get that extra bit of passion, that extra gear. I think they realized they were so close to potentially losing this series, and they were playing so passively. They just upped the pace, and honestly, I think that's the kind of pace Cogsy prefers. He loves that kind of aggression. He loves that close quarter combat, and that was a huge moment right there, and they've got one more big opportunity to do that. But Havy and Ledsy between them are having none of it, and this is going to be a big moment. And Ledsy again there, getting the kills. And mate, he had an absolutely amazing game, just holding spawns, holding hills time, just absolutely going off. And Major, what a performance from Galaxy Dark, very mature, very disciplined.
Yeah, Galaxy Dark, the Sensei boys want nothing more to do with that. They have left the scene almost instantly. But Galaxy Dark, wow, really strong performance. Sensei C, I thought for a second they might be able to make something work there. But again, Galaxy Dark, they managed to get the rotation, and again, Pablo, I think it was the case of the whole series. They just got the important kills where it mattered, and they made it show once more again there in that Berlin.
Yeah, Ledsy, man, I've got to say, like, when he played, it was the back office, and he got 2-3 kills on his own, and then rotates, and then the next hill you've got Havy getting 2 kills, and it just, these were huge kills that got them 15 to 20 seconds of time for each player when they're doing that. And when you've got 3 other players working around you that can step onto the hill if they get dropped, then it's going to be, very easy time. Hats off to Sensei Siuu having a great middle portion of that game. That could quite easily have just been a very, very dominant performance, but they did play really well, and obviously, they looked like they were just getting into the game, during the middle period of that second rotation. But again, just not good enough in the hill, not good enough defending, and just not able to break and hold as effectively as Galaxy Dark.
Yeah, and boys of Galaxy Dark, well played to them. That is going to be their first game of the season and their first win under their belts. I mean, I don't have any doubts really about Sensei. I think with the players that they've got on the roster, obviously we know Elmore and Cogsy very, very well. It wouldn't surprise me if they come back in their next game and 3-0 another team. So it's I'm not too worried about those lads, to be honest. We've seen them at this kind of level of Call of Duty quite consistently now, so I don't really have too many worries with that one. Unfortunately, Galaxy Dark, to be fair to them, they just looked very strong. And if you guys did miss the series, to be fair, maps 1 and 3, Pablo, they could have really gone either way, I suppose. It just looked as though Galaxy Dark just managed to see it over the line and get the important time that they needed to. But that Demian search, to be fair, they look like a very good search team. I'll be definitely keeping an eye on those lads to see how they potentially perform on some other series, especially in Search and Destroy, because they did look very, very solid in that Demian. They looked like they know what they were doing.
Yeah, I think one thing to consider, it would be nice to see them on a more popular search and destroy, one that where you definitely know both teams are going to have like full focus and have scrimmed it quite consistently, and to no detriment to the boys from Galaxy, because if they've got the good sense to have done that and then chosen that as a map, then that's how we talk about this time and time again. Sometimes these games are won and lost before the gun is even fired, and map choices or putting that extra effort into, you know, an unpopular map is just as vital. You know, you need to know all the maps inside out, and Galaxy Dark did that again. You're probably right in terms of the first map. Sensei Siuu had a really strong beginning to the Tuscan, but just I mean ultimately just weren't able to see it out, and they didn't have that thing we talk about where they were getting kills but they just weren't turning that into time. So again, just a tricky one for them, and going into the Berlin at 2-0 was just going to be an uphill struggle from the off. And when you've got players like Havy and like Envy absolutely dominating the map, and not just that, but you've got Ledzy in support who's getting kills in the hill and dominating those hill breaches, then it's going to be difficult. It's an uphill struggle all the way, but Sensei Siuu can take, you know, plenty of positives away. They've definitely got players who can shoot straight, and they've got, you know, a good grasp of the map. So you mean no Cogsy now, and we're going to come good, and obviously this is going to be a learning curve for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I've cast Havy or MV before. Apologies if I have, but they look very, very strong. Those two to go alongside the likes of Lidesy and Alex. We know what those boys are made of, and as a team of 4 in the early stages that we haven't seen a huge amount of, to beat the Sensei C lads in a 3-0 isn't necessarily a thing that a lot of teams can brag. So a good performance there from Galaxy Dark. It'll be interesting to see how that roster is going to potentially perform. We will, just before we potentially dip, Prezi has just said there might be another game after. Whether or not I can put it in, it depends if I've got the graphics and the guys are pretty much ready to go. But we'll hold on anyways for that one. So we might potentially have another game after this one, guys. If you do want to hang around, you are just seeing the highlights on the screen of the series that you have just potentially missed if you are just jumping on board with us. So Div 2 off and running. Division 1 is going to be starting next week, I believe. So we get to see all the Div 2 talent in action for this one. But Galaxy Dark looking very, very strong in that series. They are going to take it 3-0 and get their Division 2 start off and running in a positive action. And yeah, as mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if Sensei C are still right up there, obviously with the likes of Cogsy and especially Elmore as well. They're not really going to have an issue. I think we saw it in terms of slaying, especially Cogsy in that map 1. He really did put up some decent numbers for Sensei. He's obviously a very good player. Whenever I've cast him, he's always done very well. So I have no doubt that those boys will do well. I'll just quickly check if Prezi is giving us something else. He hasn't replied just yet, so we'll wait for just a little bit longer. But yeah, Pablo, that Division 1 looking tasty. And while we wait, I'm going to ask you a question that you're going to absolutely hate me for. The teams that we know are in it so far, who's winning it?
That's a tricky one.
It's hard, isn't it? It is hard.
Vitalize.
You're going Vitalize?
Well, I mean, it's so weird. Like it's a weird one. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Vitalize. You know, they've had 2 strong rosters this year, and I know obviously they had 2 great pickups in Johnny and Aroma, but the Vega's team were just disgusting at times. And Vitalize just seem to be a very solid org at the minute, and they don't seem to just randomly pick up 4 really bad players. They tend to looks like they're just looking to pick up good players and just keep them together. They've been good as an org, just supporting their players. So, you know, potentially I could see Vitalize being strong. I've got to ask the question: Is Ricochet in there? Is Darche in there?
No, it's you got the Ricochet lads. You've got Luty's lot in there. They're playing
in Division 1.
Yeah, that is the new Division 1, the Super League, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's not Super League then, Division 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure that is now the Division 1. They've kind of added more teams and merged it. So you've got Snake Cod's team in there. I mean,
yeah, that makes more sense.
They're my pick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going with Luke's lot.
You're going with Luke's team.
Yeah, they're very, very good. They're a very good team of 4, especially from what we're used to seeing. With no disrespect to any of the ACCL teams, they are obviously like Luty's lot, the team that you think, oh bloody hell, they've not got top 32. They are like the benchmark for a lot of these ACCL teams to reach, so to speak. So I mean, I'm going with them as a favourite, as a team of 4 that we saw over the weekend, and the fact they got through to top 6 as well in that last cup, they look very good.
See who left out in that pickle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. That's true. Imagine you just get Gabe and Johnny W. They got the smell of the.
I think Johnny W's been picked up by Vitalize, hasn't he? Though.
Yeah, he's doing. I think he's doing content creation. So whether or not he's going to be on the team and that, I'm not sure.
He's replaced CD.
Replaced
CD in their team, yeah. Almost certain of it. He's replaced CD in their team with Kels and Genesis.
Oh, really?
I literally, like Kieran told me, like this morning or last night, I can't remember. He might have been messing, but he would normally like say something after that, but no, he's definitely not messing. I'm almost saying Johnny's being picked up in his place, so we probably won't see him in that team's a really odd side. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. I'd like to see F Dot and a new Smudge teammate, and if those two can get a reasonably experienced pair in with them, they're going to put anyone to the sword. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it will probably be with Cobra and with Brindy, just as a 4, because obviously they're a much younger group. So as a core, it makes sense that they stay together and just kind of grind out, because obviously with the limitations on 2Ks and stuff because of their age. It does make sense that they'll stay as a 4, but obviously if they can pluck Gabe and Johnny out every so often to say, come on lads, help us out a bit, and obviously get every single bit of knowledge and skill that those lads have to help them kind of.
There's rules now in place though, isn't there? So they can't just pick them up and put them down and pick them up.
Yeah, no, they can't just press the button and ask Gabe and Johnny nicely to be like, hey, listen lads, can you fill in? Obviously with the registration and stuff for players, that's now going to be slightly different, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see at least one of them on the bench just in case. They do need a fill-in, because they did look like a very good 4, perhaps, as a team to take down Luti's lot. They looked very, very good as a 4. And I'm not sure if you saw Gabe's tweet with like it was him, and then it had, I think it was Brindy, Smudge, and F Dot with like the cats.
Cats.
Yeah, that did make me laugh. That was so good.
It's a shout though. I mean, you would expect a well-rehearsed team, like from Luti's perspective, you would expect his team being properly drilled and having like a little bit more time under the belt would be very, very good. Luti's probably the first to admit that he's probably not at his peak in terms of his gun mechanics. He is surrounded by very, very good players, but then Snake and Luke himself is surrounded by some absolutely beastly players as well. So you would expect those two to be in the final at the minute. That's based on who's in the league at the minute. Obviously, if the Super League gets more sign-ups or whatever, then potentially you're going to see, you know, a bit more of a battle. But I'd like to think that some of the ACCL teams are going to be able to hang quite effectively. And obviously, we need to see F Dot and Smudge pick up, and if they are going to continue with Brindy and Co. That's still a very good side. And then you've just got to look, obviously, as I mentioned before, to like the Vitalized boys and Vega and Co, because they have been solid, and I know they've chopped and changed a little bit, but they're still a very good side. So if they are going to come through and play, then that could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, right now you have got to look to those more experienced players. So
yeah, so just getting news as well, guys. So we're not going to have another game after this one, unfortunately. It will just be the one game this evening in Galaxy Dark. They are going to be the team that comes out on top. But GG's there to both teams. A big shout out to everyone who's tuned in again on the stream. I think it pushed 100 viewers yet again, guys. So a huge shout out to everyone, and a massive shout out to my man with his nose in his phone, Mr. Pabs. Thank you very much for joining me, brother. Yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good. Yeah, and we're actually going to drop a raid to the man himself, Mr. Felix. Mr. F Dot is currently streaming at the moment. So if you guys, oh man, well there's some time. And Jacko has just raided us with a party of 19 as well. So cheers, Jacko. Hope your game went well, mate. But unfortunately, guys, we're going to shift you over to Mr. Felix. So if any of you don't know who he is, he'll probably be a player in the future that's probably going to be frying. You're not going to lie. But yeah, if you can hop over to his stream, show him a bit of love, and get on the raid, that'll be very much appreciated. Drop him a follow as well, guys, on the follow. It takes 2 seconds, and Domino wants one of those to see it off. So yeah, GG's to both teams, and a big thank you again, Mr. Pabs. I'm sure we'll be back for more. We got one tomorrow, haven't we? 7:30. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like flying for that one. Honestly, I am like feeling a little drained today, so my voice is still. I still gotta get rid of this cough, so I'm still like I'm mumbling into the mic. I apologize. It's the same tone. But tomorrow I will be back fighting on form, and we'll have like an actual voice that people can actually not fall asleep to. Literally, I could like do my own podcast right now, how to put people to sleep. But we'll be back on tomorrow. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm genuinely looking forward to doing some ACCL. It's really nice to be back in the league we know and love.
Yeah, so a huge shout out again to everyone who's dropped by, and a quick shout out as well to Paul, Senix, and Optic J for the new follows. Thank you very much, guys. All the new and old guys, you are heavily appreciated by myself.
Oh man,
everyone.
before we go as well, what's going on with Maven?
I don't know to be honest.
Man, that would be.
The raid's about to end. We're literally about to jump onto FDR. Apologies, but it's a discussion for another day. We'll have a podcast. Don't worry. Right.